You got home, dropped everything on the couch, and before you even realized it, you'd already ordered food you didn't need. Again. It wasn't a decision. It was automatic. And the worst part, you did everything right today. Think about your day. Today, or any day last week. You woke up with a list. Not necessarily written down. But it was there. What needed to get done. What you couldn't forget. What was going to be hard. Before you even left the house, you'd already made about 10 decisions. What to wear. What to eat. Whether to answer that message now or later. Whether to deal with that situation or let it go. At work more. What to prioritize. What to push back. How to respond without it coming across wrong. Whether to walk into that meeting prepared or wing it. Whether to say what you were thinking or just stay quiet. Lunch. Same thing. What to eat. How much to spend. Whether to actually take a break or just eat at your desk again. Then the afternoon. More emails. More small choices that felt simple but weren't. More situations that needed something from you. And you kept showing up. One after another. Without stopping. Without realizing what it was costing you. By the time you got home, the day was over. But something in you had been over for a while. You put the key in the door. Walk in. The silence feels different from the morning silence. Morning silence has energy. Evening silence has weight. You don't want to think. You don't want to decide. You don't want to solve anything else. And then your phone appears. Not because you chose it. Because it's always there. And opening a screen doesn't feel like a decision. It feels like rest. And then it happened. The expensive food you ordered without thinking. The thing that showed up on your screen and made it into your cart before you actually decided. The scroll that started as 5 minutes and turned into 2 hours. And you, the same person who made good decisions all day, got home and couldn't make one more. Here's the question nobody asks. Why specifically at night? Why not in the morning? Why not after lunch? Why always at the end of the day, when you're finally home, finally safe, when you should finally be in control? You didn't get lazier at night. You didn't get less responsible. You got emptier. And empty is different from weak. Weak is a character problem. Empty is a resource problem. And resources run out. Always. In everyone. Without exception. There's a concept in psychology called ego depletion. It was first studied by a researcher named Roy Baumeister. And the experiment he ran is too simple to ignore. He put people in a room with 2 plates. One plate full of chocolate. One plate full of radishes. One group could eat whatever they wanted. The other group could only eat radishes. They had to resist the chocolate the entire time. Then both groups were given a difficult problem to solve. Nearly impossible. The group that ate chocolate kept trying much longer. The group that spent the whole time resisting the chocolate gave up much faster. Not because they were weaker, but because they had already used mental energy just to resist the chocolate. By the time the hard problem arrived, that energy was gone. That's ego depletion. The idea that willpower isn't infinite. It's a resource. And resources run out. Think of your willpower like a battery. Every day you start with a full charge. And every decision you make throughout the day uses a little bit of that charge. It doesn't matter if the decision is big or small. Whether to answer that family group chat. Whether to go to the gym or skip it. What to have for lunch. What to tackle first at work. Every single one drains a little. And when the battery gets close to 0, your brain switches modes. It stops calculating consequences. Stops weighing options. Stops thinking about tomorrow. It just wants the easiest path. The fastest one. The one that hurts least right now. That's why the worst financial decisions rarely happen in the morning. They happen at night. After a long day. After you've already made 100 decisions and have nothing left for one more. That's not a coincidence. That's biology. But there's another layer to this. One nobody talks about. The modern world was built to drain that battery as fast as possible. Every notification on your phone is a micro-decision. Do I open it or ignore it? Reply now or later? Is this important or not? It feels small. But it's never free. Every infinite choice, Which show to watch, which product to buy, which option to pick, uses cognitive energy even when you think you're not deciding anything important. Every manufactured urgency, the sale that ends today, the message that needs a response right now, the deadline that appeared out of nowhere, steals attention. And attention is energy. Companies know this. Apps know this. The entire system was designed to occupy as much of your cognitive capacity as possible throughout the day. Not by accident. By design. So when you get to the end of the day with no strength to resist anything, that's not a character flaw. It's the predictable result of a system that consumed everything you had before you even walked through your front door. And here's the cruelest part. Financial decisions are exactly the kind of decisions that require the most cognitive energy. Comparing prices. Thinking long-term. Resisting immediate gratification. Calculating future consequences. They're the hardest decisions to make. And you're being forced to make them at the exact moment of the day when you're least capable of making them. That's not weakness. That's timing. And the timing wasn't your choice. Now think about what that actually means. That subscription you never canceled. That purchase you made on a Tuesday night after a brutal day. That delivery order that became a habit every time you came home completely drained. Those weren't planning failures. Those were decisions made by a brain that had already given everything it had. And here's what's interesting. People with stronger financial habits don't have more willpower. They just make fewer decisions during the day. They protect the battery. Not because they're naturally more organized, because they learned that the battery is real. And that it runs out. That changes everything. Because if the problem isn't who you are, but when you're trying to decide, then the problem has a solution. Not a willpower solution. A design solution. But that's the next step. And it starts with a different question. Not why don't I have discipline? But when am I trying to use a discipline that doesn't exist anymore? You didn't fail. You just ran out of fuel at the worst possible time.